All right, hey, what's up YouTube? It's Little Bobby here from 5-9 Gaming. Today we're talking about Kena Bridge of Spirits, the unfortunate delay in the game's release, but the fortunate new trailer that shows us a lot more about the game than we had previously seen. So let's get started with the bad news, get that out of the way. The game has been delayed. Originally was slated for a March 2021 release, and as of today, February 25th, 2021, they put out the new trailer. At the end, it said the official release date will now be August 24th, 2021. So we're going to be waiting a little over or a little under 6 months, I guess, from today to actually be able to play this game. But let's get to the good stuff that we saw today. There was a new trailer and it gave us a lot more insight into what we can expect from the game. One of the really cool things that I loved from this trailer was that we see our first voiceovers. And the first voiceovers, they are sounding excellent. Voiceovers are a real big thing, especially in any kind of narrative game. For me, Breath of the Wild is like a 10 out of 10 for me. The only points I really give that game in terms of a deduction is simply put the voiceovers, right? I'm a huge Breath of the Wild fan, huge Zelda fan. I mean, you can see I have this Breath of the Wild box and all this stuff. But when it comes to the story in Kena, we are getting more details revealed through these introductory voiceovers of a village elder. And then we finally hear the voice of our main character, Kena. We do see what looks to be the big bad of the game again. It's a guy with the mask, and the other staff kind of looks like the antithesis of what Kena looks like near the end of the trailer when she puts on the mask, right? He's got the glowing red eyes and looks very evil. She fights him early on in the trailer, probably an early fight where you kind of meet him and are introduced to that character, and then you spend the rest of the game trying to undo all of his witchcraft and all that. We also see some more of the fighting, which is looking great. It's looking fantastic. It's very similar to God of War from what it looks like, and maybe a little bit of Breath of the Wild. Looks like it's a lot of quick dodging abilities, combos, things like that, hitting weak points to cause stuns and stuff like that. We also see the Rot in battle, and the Rot are the little furry black characters that kind of follow Kena around. As far as they've made it sound, you know, the better you do in combat, the more Rot kind of flock to you, and then you can use them. So we see the Rot taking new forms in battles. We see Kena like throwing groups of Rot at enemies to cause damage or cause stuns. We see some new abilities for Kena herself. You know, we saw more footage of her using her staff as a bow to hit weak points. We also saw a shield very similar to Daruk's protection from Breath of the Wild that looks like not only can it block damage, but it can also be put up and sent out, like cast a wave to do a stun on enemies, which can be really good, especially if we have big hordes of enemies at any point. You know, one of the things about hordes of enemies, you have to find a way to kind of CC them, right? Crowd control them. We have those in Breath of the Wild with like stasis, using items with magnesis. For my money, we also see, you know, the Rot moving things for Kena, probably to help her solve puzzles. So what I'm guessing is the Rot is going to be very similar to the Sheikah Slate in Breath of the Wild. We're going to see them be able to interact with the environment, do things for Kena, as well as help her in battle that we've already seen. We're gonna use them probably in a bunch of different ways, maybe to help us make jumps or to move big objects that Kena herself can't move. The whole group of Rot that she has can move them. We see a bunch of new enemies in this, and I think some of these enemies, just the way they look is awesome. I was really impressed with like the bull, like the wooden bull that is conjured up kind of like midway through the trailer. That looks amazing. And aside from all of that, you know, one of the biggest things I can say is I continue to be more and more impressed with the art style of this game. It is by Ember Lab, and a few years back they had a viral kind of short video based on Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask called Terrible Fate. If you haven't seen that, look that up on YouTube. It is like so perfect if you're a fan of the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. But we see them take the art style that they used in that, you know, not only the forest, but the characters. The Happy Mask Salesman in that short looks, you know, very similar to how the characters in Kena are looking. And we also see that they're taking like those big lush, you know, environments and not only using them for general traversal, but also using them for turning them dark and using them almost like Ori, right? Ori in the Blind Forest, where there's like these big sections that are overtaken by darkness, and once you clear them out, they're a little, they're a little less intimidating. I assume we'll still see enemies and stuff like that, but it's been really cool to see this new footage. One of the things that it also shows a little more of is traversal. We see Kina kind of jumping on a ledge and kind of sidling by while she's hanging off the ledge. That looked very much like Uncharted / God of War traversal, right? Where you kind of have to hang off and then move around aside while you're pulling yourself along, which is really cool. From the early things that we've seen, there is discussion of the traversal in the whole game world not being an open world game. So it won't be an open world like Breath of the Wild, but it will be more like God of War, where there's a central village or hub world, right? Kind of like Midgard and God of War, and you go off to these different sections of the forest or biomes, right? There might be the mountain we see in one of the big wide shots early on near the village. Maybe we have to go off to that snow biome, right? Go into the forest at some point, and all of them are overtaken by darkness. We have to like beat the dungeon masters, right? Or the bosses to kind of free up that area. And overall, this is looking like a really, really impressive title for such a small studio. If you didn't know, Ember Lab is something like a 14 or 15 person studio. They have been contracting work from outside studios to help them with like the visuals, I assume with the cutscenes, even though I'm sure they can do it by themselves, judging by Terrible Fate. But if there's 30 minutes to an hour worth of cutscenes, that could be a lot of work for 15 people on top of actually designing and developing the working game world and all that. So when we talk about all that stuff, it's a really impressive outing so far, or at least it's looking that way from such a small team. This will be a game that's available on PlayStation 4 and 5 consoles, as well as the Microsoft Windows platform. So if you're a PC player, you can pre-order this now on Epic Games. You can also pre-order it on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. They said the pre-orders are available now. So if you want to get on that, go ahead and do it. But yeah, we're going to be waiting just a little bit longer than we thought for Kina, and it's a little bit of a bummer. I wish they would have said something, more than 3 days before the month it's supposed to come out. But overall, everything else we got in here is really, really looking great. So let me know, guys, down below what you guys think of, the new release date, the fact that it's being delayed. For me personally, it is a bummer, but I'm okay with it because delays tend to mean a better game comes out. If you let a studio have the time they need to work, they're going to make you a better product. That's like 99 out of 100 times what happens. Anytime something is rushed, it becomes messy, it's done sloppy, and you get a cyberpunk situation, right? We don't want that, especially with Kina, because it looks so good already. But at the same time, let me know what you think. If you are upset, let me know why. I understand if you're bummed, but and what do you think about this new trailer? Because for me, that's the most hype thing about this whole thing. I can deal with that because what it looks like we are going to get in August is going to be really something special. So guys, I will see you later. Again, this is Little Bobby from 5-9 Gaming signing out, and I hope you guys have a great day.